Hello fellas, today I want to upgrade together with you my Class D amp. Actually I want to put some extra capacitor to the output of the power supply in between the power supply and the Class D amp. Class D amp just because I move a lot and I like to have small reasonable power amp. That's a actual capacitor. To make capacitor incorporated without damaging the wire, original power supply wire, you need to have a couple of connectors, like a male-female, and a few pigtails. You see, I start to prepare the pigtails. You just remove the insulation from each pigtail. You need to have a flux, you need to have a soldering iron, you need to have a solder itself, and we will go step by step. You will see what we will do. So when we remove some insulation at the tips of the pigtails, we then need to put a little bit of flux to those stripped ends. But before starting the soldering process, you see I just clean thoroughly the tip of the soldering iron. And I use always, and I strongly recommend you to use the tip made of copper. The copper is awesome. Okay, you can see how I make it. You need to make sure it starts to take some solder, otherwise you will not be able to make any soldering solder very well. As soon as done, you start to prepare those tips for actual soldering process. You see, I use very thin solder because it's melting very fast and you can control it better. And keep in mind, you have already some flux, extra flux, not what is inside the solder, but extra flux from this macaroni. You see this brand, whatever the brand is, the paste flux. Okay. Only when you complete all the pigtails, you will be ready to solder to the capacitor. Now we need to prepare capacitor itself. Same process, you put a little bit of flux and you want to make sure it will start to absorb any solder, otherwise you will not make any connection very well. Now when the capacitor is done, I go to connectors. You can see I have female connectors. I do exactly the same. I like to have these medical clamps, this special medical tool, because they're very convenient. I use it for good 15-20 years and I don't have any plan to change my habits anytime soon. This tool is awesome, I recommend it. Then we go to male connector and we will solder some pigtails to the male connector. how accurately I put some paste plugs. Not much, very little, just enough to make sure it has some paste. The male connector is done. We do exactly the same for the female, and we start to solder pigtails to the female connector. Look, I don't keep the soldering iron a very long time. I just touch for enough time to make sure the solder just melting, and that's it. Otherwise you can destroy connector. A good practice. Then you have multimeter and you check if you want to solder to the right position. Look, I am just touching the connector on the capacitor, because if you just hold a little longer you can destroy capacitor. And this capacitor is not cheap. It's a good $15, maybe more, made in Japan, plus delivery. If you keep a little longer you will destroy it. Look how the adapter looks like, and what you see is ready to go to the amplifier.